Good morning and welcome along to Dumfries Ice Bowl for the 2017 Mixed Doubles. This 2017, isn't it, John? Good. Great day to be sat in an ice rink, you mean? Quite, yeah, no, absolutely. So first draw of, as I say, the 2017 Mixed Doubles. We're literally just underway. I think you've seen everything on the pictures. We're just a wee bit late getting the microphone switched on, but we're getting there now. We'll go over the rules of mixed doubles for anybody that hasn't seen them after the first end. Normal coverage here at Dumfries. We'll concentrate on one game. The scores from everything else you'll see on your screen on the right hand side, unless we get any stones across there, in which case you won't. We'll take them off. But if you want to go back and have a look at other scores, they'll be on the website, Facebook. If you just do a Google search for Dumfries Curling, you'll find pretty much everything you require there. It's a fairly long day ahead of us. I think we've got, I know there's 13 draws all told. I think we've got 6 of them today, I think. John, I think it is. It's up on the wall, but it's pretty small writing, so I'm due a change of contact lenses here, so we might we might need to do something about that. Hopefully people can hear you now, John.
Good morning. If you appears we had a technical hitch there. Hope that's the first and last one.
I've just got a text from Kenny Murray there, just informing us that he can't hear you. So he may regret that decision in another 10-15 minutes or so.
Good morning, Kenny. It's nice to see you're up and about at this time of the morning.
I think Kenny's in for the next session at 11:30, so we'll turn his mic off.
So we're watching the game on sheet D of Noreen versus Reza or Regsa. Other games that's on are Garcia versus Mulder, Wang versus Perret, McCleary versus Duff, Cost versus Bryce Alavo, and I'm sure that's bad pronunciation, my apologies. I'll speak to them later and try and find out. And also Fife versus Zhang.
Yep, all 6 sheets currently occupied this morning. As I say, we're just in the first end, so we tend to get better at this as the weekend goes on. So I think this is a pretty good start, to be fair.
We haven't done this for a wee while, and so our apologies on that. And we couldn't afford to get Sky presenters or BBC presenters or anybody else.
So Noreen rink with red stones but not wearing the red jackets, just in case there's any confusion about that. Noreen from Sweden wearing the Swedish kit. The red's a rink from Latvia, I think. John, is that? I'm pretty sure it's Latvia.
I didn't have much to do with the teams. I was kind of more involved yesterday with a wee bit with the ice preparation. There's been quite a lot of work being going on here in order to get really keen swinging ice, and our information is that they have succeeded.
Yeah, Paul Martin in for the ice tech this year. Certainly watched him work this morning and throwing a few stones, and looked to be quite a nice swing, so hopefully we can keep that going all weekend. So everything very focused on the back of the tee line here, which not ideal from either team. They'd really want control of that top 4 rather than the back 4.
just maybe the way that it's developed, first end, and in saying that, all the teams had practice sessions yesterday, late afternoon and into the evening, and before this game commenced they all have a 5-minute practice, so that should be enough for teams of this calibre. Should also mention that we've got one of our local teams. We had a drop off. One of the teams couldn't make it due to, I believe it was an illness.
Ill health it was indeed.
And as a result of that, two of our local curlers, Faye Henderson, and one of the other curlers, I'm not sure just who it is, has came in.
Robson, one of the Robson boys, I think.
All right, aye. Both part of our
Andrew, I think.
Both part of our junior curling programme here at Dumfries High School, and we thank them very much for making sure that the draw was fully filled.
Yeah, we actually had a game against Faye last Friday, I think, in the local mixed doubles. We came out on top, but we were quite fortunate, I have to admit. So no, I think they'll do absolutely fine this weekend.
Yes, wonderful experience of playing against curlers of the level that we've got here. Very high level of curling here this weekend, and we've got the likes of Judith McCleary, who is and her husband. They're here on behalf of Scotland. We're just watching this stone come in. It's just a wee bit high, I would think. Not where they wanted it to be.
Yeah, and as so often the case with mixed doubles, we start to look and see if we've got any kind of trick shots to score more than a I believe this is last stone coming up, John. I think it looks like they're just calling for a 2. Just draw down into the 4 foot. You'll notice we've given up on the number of stones remaining graphic.
Alright, okay then.
For a couple of problems with that. One, it starts at 8, which obviously isn't much cope for mixed doubles. We might reinstate it later on and see if we can get it to work somehow.
It's one less task to do. So
saves the complaints. But no, as you were saying, it's a good lineup. Bruce Mount and Jean Aitken here as well. A couple of Chinese teams. The English champions, I believe, as well. So yeah, it's Spanish rinks. So no, it'll be a good weekend. And certainly was a good weekend last year. We haven't even mentioned last year's winners yet, I don't think.
No.
Which was Rios and Perrier.
All right,
if my memory serves correct. So I think they are now Swiss champions again. So successfully down in for their 2. And a good start.
One or two interesting points came up when I was listening to the umpires talk. Some things that, I'll be quite honest with you, I hadn't been aware of. They're not going to use stone 8, and stones 7 and 6 are going to be the stones which are used in the position stones. If the teams want to change one of the position stones with another one, I think they've got to notify the umpire, and they can't use different stones for when they're using the power play, and that's in order to prevent some, maybe if they've recognised that there's a cutting stone, that they can use the cutting stone more effectively or take it out of play. I'm not sure.
And it's just exactly what it is, so they can't manipulate which stones they're actually playing in an end. Or if they do, they have to do it before the start of the game. Yeah, it would never even occur to me to do that, but it does to these guys. So.
I was sitting there, or standing there, I should say. Never really thought about that. So.
It's a good first stone.
Just maybe a couple of foot or half a metre too much.
Yeah, well, it's interesting for those that followed mixed doubles. The position of the stone that's in the 4 foot actually changed. It used to be touching the back of the tee line, and that used to be the absolute default. You just froze onto it, froze onto it, froze onto it, and they moved it to the back of the forefoot. And I suspect ideally they may like that stone maybe a foot shorter than it actually is.
Aye, well,
or frozen, one of the two.
That's my understanding, is that what you want to do is just be towards the front of the forefoot, so that the opposition can't just freeze onto you, because then they're going to freeze onto the button. Just maybe a wee bit too heavy here.
A wee bit too heavy, but gets quite a nice result with it. Quite an important stone coming out now for the Swedish rink. Just get another one in there. If you ever leave any kind of double now, that could be fairly problematic as we go forward. You're not allowed to move any stones out of play until the fourth played stone.
That's correct. So this is the last stone being played where they can't hit, and after that they may start to take stones out the house. They all seem to be playing quite wide, David. Nobody's looking to tick the front guard out of the way at this moment in time.
No, I have to admit I'm always a little bit loath to do that myself. Particularly, obviously, it's the Swedish guys that are playing just now, the Noreen rink. They don't have last stone. If you're playing a normal game of curling, quite like that guard up there. I think it's one of these games. It's very easy to overthink things. I think a wee opportunity here to come down a wee bit of weight, stay on the nose of the red that's just been played, and just move that back one out of play, or at least get it out of the 8 foot.
Well, certainly taking less ice, so obviously a wee bit heavier stone.
Can afford to come right across the inside of this one this time, so it certainly wouldn't want to be wide on this. I think that's part of the trick of mixed doubles, is knowing which side to miss on. Some would argue it's probably a fairly key part of a normal game of curling as well, but played that really nicely. Maybe just overswung a little bit, but it's the inside edge is hidden on the left hand side of the sheet as we look at it, so I don't think there's any chance of any kind of double. If there is, it's a kind of slash double, which not ideal at this point in the end. Quite a nice setup for the regs of the rink here, just keep moving these stones about and see if an opportunity comes to take the double and land a big end.
Aye, that's one of the things about mixed doubles, is that you can win and lose big ends at any time in the game, and that is probably one of the great interests in the game, that if you actually just keep watching what you're doing and think about what you're doing, you can actually come back from, even if you're 4 or 5 down. Yeah,
exactly. That's I think again in the local league we've managed to peel 2 games. One of them we were 4 up and one of them we were 5 down going into the last 10, so we'll call that a learning experience. Yeah, we just talk about missing on the right side, and that certainly isn't the right side to be missing it on. if you do hit the guard, you certainly want to clear the shooter out the way and open up that forefoot.
Aye, it's not left them in a good position at all. Or maybe we've just made it more difficult.
Decision to make here, though. Do they go for the blue and risk the jam? Which I think you probably have to. You'd lie 3 if you make the shot, but what you don't want to do is leave the double back the way.
They've just got it drawn to there. Hopefully, so that they're on the inside face of it. That would give them advantage.
An aggressive guard.
Aye. Early stages, so nobody's wanting to lose any big ends in the first couple of ends if they can avoid it. Even just giving your opposition a 1 or a 2 isn't a big problem. It would be for me, but it's not for them.
No, you very quickly get used to playing this game that you've just got to get it out of your mind. You've lost a 2 or a 3. It's incredibly easy to do. This looks difficult to know when I'm standing behind the camera, but it might just be overswinging. It has done, but they've gone quite a nice result on it, and that probably makes the end fairly safe for the Noreen rink, and the fact that they can probably have a bit of a go at it with their next, and I think last stone.
I wonder if they're going to try and just follow that into there. I mean, I would have thought that was more luck than judgment to go to the where it ended.
Yeah, they were sweeping it all the way, to be fair, so I don't know if they just missed. They were sweeping it for the edge of the blue, or they were sweeping it to get past the red. I'm not quite sure which way, just with people standing in the way of the camera, but yeah, lucky not to leave that in front of the red and leave a double, if not a triple, back the way.
So we're taking ice just on the edge of the 8 foot there. Seems to draw quite a wee bit in the last bit here, but it's just catching this. Just a wee bit too heavy.
I'm expecting a guard to go in here, John. And they might just be line 1 actually, but it's maybe one of these situations where it's very easy to overly complicate a game of mixed doubles. There we go, tap the guard. It's still a steal at the end of the day. I think it's just one. Certainly the red looks to be fairly close to the back of the 4 foot circle, and the blue's touching the white inner circle, so I would favour
No,
blue
I
second.
tend to agree with you. I tend to agree with you with that, David.
Which, going by our track record, probably means it's line 2 red.
See, this is where that guard away at the front just prevents anything on the left hand side as we view the screen from taking place. And,
Which, if you're playing red stones right now, is great.
it is, aye. So they're looking just to put a guard on the.
Must be fairly close. I think we're looking for a guard about there, maybe just slightly to the left. Not too far, maybe just overswung a little bit. Yeah, I think they can still get to that red. Sorry, to the blue. And they may be able to tap blue red and lie 2 at the end of this. Yeah, I think they can. Maybe a bit adventurous to lie 2. Certainly lie short.
I think they could lie short, but I can't see, because that red there that's just to the back of the button, it's going to jam.
It's not going anywhere, is it?
Well, even if it did, I think that they'll just be looking to tap their own one in and take the one.
See, the scores seem to be updating, John. Somebody must be updating the scores.
All right, okay.
noticed Sheet C didn't have a score, and I don't think Sheet F had a score when we put them up the last time. So, oh yeah, I see Mr. Sloan's at the computer over there, so that seems to be working okay.
I see Ireland with Neil Fife and his daughter. They managed to score a 1. When I looked at down there, they were lying 2, and Neil had played his shot, and no, couldn't make out whether or not he'd actually drawn it. So, oh, that's a bit scary.
I'm going to call it 1, but let's wait and see what they put up on the scoreboard. But yeah, I don't know if that was
bit scary altogether.
Yeah,
I mean, wide and hard.
So just for those who haven't played mixed doubles before, John, or haven't seen this, do you want to take people through?
All right, okay. Third one from the house. One player plays the first and the fifth stones, and the other player plays the second, third and fourth stones. So one player, they just decide before they start the end, you're playing the first, and they know then they're playing the fifth. There's one power play per team to be taken with the hammer. The power play means that you just move either the stone in the house to the left or the right, and it's just to the edge of the 8 foot. No stones to be removed prior to the fourth played stones, so first 3 stones you can tap back, you can draw, you can put a guard on, but what you can't do is take any stones out of play. You can move them so that they're just out of into the free guards, into the back, out of the house, but they can't be totally out of the house. You're allowed 1 power play per game, per end, per
game, per team.
Game.
Yep.
One power play per game per team, and you can only play that when you've got the hammer, I think.
You can indeed. You can only play it when you've got the hammer, and we end up with stones in name positions.
I'm impressed by this.
Or possibly the other side, depending on which side they choose to play it. But the key thing being that stone in the house is the front of the tee line as well.
The benefit of the power play is supposed to give you, if you're losing, that advantage to try to bring you back into the game. And it seems to work. The teams use them, and it becomes quite interesting because you're playing a totally different ice and in a totally different way.
I think the other use of the power play, John, certainly from my point of view anyway, is if you're 3 or 4 up in a game, you still to use it. It's actually quite a good way of defending and making sure you don't lose a silly end, because you can actually keep the 4 foot open for the last draw, assuming you make the last draw, of course. That's I'm maybe being a little bit negative on that.
So anyway, I must admit that I think that mixed doubles is absolutely fascinating to watch. I played it a couple of years ago. In fact, I'll just mention it, that my wife and I, Gwyneth, who's at home, we actually won the local competition when it was played for the first year. I think we came last the second year, so people just got better the next year. So
I didn't see you playing it this year, John.
No. I never put my name down for any Friday night games this time.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
So at least my name's on the cup. Forever, our names will be on that trophy.
We're top of the league at the minute, but waiting on other results to see what happens. So it's. I have to say, I really enjoy it. I think it's the new Olympic discipline, isn't it? It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
So if there's any curlers out there that haven't tried it, can I say to you, get yourself a partner and go and have a game. And I'll be quite honest with you, I think you'll find a lot of people will join in. It's a very technical game and very skillful, and you've got to think about what you're doing, but it also allows people that aren't just the best of curlers to have a really interesting game of curling.
I think you've just mentioned the key point to me. I think it'll be absolutely brilliant to get beginners involved with.
Oh, aye.
It's the stones in play. Stones aren't flying through the house all the time. It's you can't hit people off the ice in mixed doubles. You can try, but it doesn't work. It maybe gives ice rinks a small problem, that said.
In which way?
I don't know if we want to go here or not, but essentially it's pairs ice.
It is, aye.
So it's cheaper, and it doesn't bring in maybe the cash, but that's only a problem if your ice rink's at 100% capacity, of course. Which I don't think many ice rinks are at the moment.
No.
So
it's just getting people on the ice.
Exactly. So how aggressive do the red team want to be here? Sitting one in a nice position. The blue at the back is fairly vulnerable, but at the end of the day they're already 3 up. We're in the third end.
I think that they won't be thinking about whether the 3 up, because they know that they can lose a 3. So I think that even if they could get another 1 here, they'll be quite happy, because that gives them a bigger advantage. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just try to guard here, but
I think I'd be going for that aggressive guard again. So either
that looks as if it's going past the side, unless it
does. It's just too heavy. You can see there the right weight. That would have been just about perfect.
It would have been, aye.
It's maybe just, I think the ideal shot was on top of it, but maybe err on the light side rather than the heavy side.
I had heard that the ice was very keen, so it could be that they're just, in fact, it was said to me that it was keen at the beginning, and it just got keener as it had went on when they were practicing. So I think that some people had got caught out just the way that they've managed to get the ice. So
you do need quick swingy ice for mixed doubles. It certainly makes it more interesting.
So just a wee bit outside the 8 foot there. Just looking to tap this red back a wee bit. I wonder if they've got a rogue stone there or something.
Okay, so not ideal, but it's not actually finished too badly in the fact that there is quite a good opportunity for a double there to lift it and lift that red clean off the top of the blue now. I suspect the Swedes will look to get another one right in there. Taking a fair bit of ice though, so we've got the slight advantage of looking at the replays to see where they took the ice. They're aiming for somewhere in about the middle of the 12 foot. Joining with what most teams do now is decide the ice as a pair and then both go down the other end. So there's not an awful lot to see from this end when they.
At least we can see where the stones are.
Well, this is a fair point. Makes a pleasant change.
We were going to change the cameras, but we've not got round to it yet. So who knows what we'll have next year? Because David's working on this, you see, so David's looking at Wi-Fi cameras and.
Well, I think we've
all
found
the
a
other
new
things.
technology, John. I think we've got a new technology
Have you?
that might make this an awful lot easier, cheaper, and better. So,
So watch this
Yeah.
space for next season, people. So anyway, here the stone coming in. It still looks as if it's a wee bit heavy.
it does. I think this is their last stone.
All right, my apologies.
That's the Swedes' last stone. I think there's another blue to come. I think that's the order the Swedes were playing in.
Well, it's maybe not turned out too bad because it probably is just.
Certainly getting the shrug of the shoulders.
I think you have to strike this.
I think you have to absolutely hammer it, and there might be a chance of spinning the middle red back up over the top. But I think if you do that, the blue probably goes. So if you can get rid of two reds, I think you're pretty good here.
Well called, David. As you say, that was always going to stay locked in there, so I'll be quite happy with that.
Yeah, I think that's probably about as good as he could have done there. Limit the
Aye, was
damage to a one.
Aye.
This is where we see how quickly they're updating the scores, John, because we now know it's 4-0. Let's see how on the ball the other volunteers are.
They probably won't do anything until the score's on the board.
So we can actually see them, and I can see them having a wee chat amongst themselves, just quietly going about. We'll keep an eye on it.
Right, okay.
So we've got a change, John. We're using a power play.
All right, okay. I was just going to be looking at something else there. And so this is the first of the power plays that we've seen.
Put them on the side I showed as well. I'm impressed by this. So you can see the guys with the hammer, the blue team, they are in front of the tee line. And despite what the camera shows it as, if you sit in the hack, you won't be able to see anything of that blue stone. It'll be entirely covered by the red. And what the Swedes are now doing, they're not allowed to remove the guard, but they will play down the outside of the stone and try and wick the red into the house, or at least away from the blue. And if they miss the red, they will try and spin this blue to the back of the 12 foot. And if the red can, nearly perfect. If the red can lie shot, then you've just about killed the power play. I think there's two ways to deal with the power play, and let us know on Facebook if there's other ways. But I think you either tick the red, or you come round it the other way and freeze the shot in the house. We've actually stopped playing power plays when we're playing here, because every time we do it, somebody freezes the stone and we lose a 2 or something daft like that. So
Anyway, I'm not sure if she's just signalling that he's a wee bit tight, or she's just hoping that it'll just die a wee bit more.
looks a bit heavy. It's not bad. It's not bad. It has come behind the tee line though.
Still draw to it. So this is the fourth of the 8 ends.
not too bad for time actually. We're maybe a little bit behind. We're not bad. We're not bad. A lot of games to get through today though. We've got half an hour, 2 hours scheduled for each game, plus half an hour in between, so we should be okay. And this looks too heavy, and he's not allowed to take that out, so that's going back. Yeah, we're not badly placed there actually, John. That's pretty good. It's not very fair, is it?
Not really. But like on all things with curling, it's expected that the players will play with some integrity and try to not gain advantage or unfair advantage. And I think we've just seen a good example of that. So. Is that a shot that you would have expected there, David, to drawn up against their own one, as opposed to, say, putting one, say, as a guard or other side of the house or that?
I think it's probably a little bit of 6 and 2 3s. The problem is this one on the back of the 12 foot.
Right.
If they swing one to the other side of the house, it's always going to be a double.
Right, okay.
It's almost guaranteed to leave a double somewhere. I'd be slightly concerned that they can come in off their own red, but then, yeah, it's that question of where do you put the third stone, isn't it? It's that's a fair shot.
It was, aye.
And he's got really unlucky with that. The blue has gone. No, I thought it was going to lie backing to the red there.
Aye, really good shot. It was just unfortunate they didn't clear the house, and excellent shot. I think I'll be relatively pleased with that.
See the replay there. The replay seems to be going quicker than the normal time, John. I think we've got something wrong there. We'll sort that out later. Not a bad effort, but it has gone second shot, and I think it was probably popped out the other side as well.
Aye, that's aye.
So I expect the Reds just to follow that blue down, split the house effectively. What that should then do is effectively kill the power play.
Right, I'm with you, aye. And this is David's obviously been playing this and really followed the rules and the way of it. Probably been watching YouTube to get some ideas as well, haven't you?
I have nothing else to do at nights. No, I have to admit I have watched
some of
it's really, I find it fascinating to see how the real top line players have I maybe wouldn't say taken to it, but things like watching them in the Continental Cup, for example, you can watch that on YouTube now,
right.
And they do play it differently. I think what we've got is kind of very, very top level players in the normal game playing occasionally, as opposed to kind of almost professional mixed doubles curlers. And I still have the opinion that nobody's fully nailed the tactics down, and it's one of the things I like about it. You don't get textbook ends.
Right, but I think that's one of the things about curling, that there'll be people out there that's continuously looking for a way of doing or playing the opening shots differently. It's like chess, where people have got different gambits and that, and they're always looking for another way of trying to beat their opposition in that. And I mean, here up in Scotland and that, I mean, when you see the likes of Judith McCleary and her husband Lee, who have taken to the game along with Bruce Mowat, and I mean, those are great curlers and for teams and that have really taken to this game,
Yeah, and as you say, people are always looking for different ways of doing things, aren't they? And
they are.
It's I just don't think you see it enough. It's certainly when if you watch the ladies' worlds just now, it's very similar end after end.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm not just sure what they were. I think that the blue must be the shot. It's on the left-hand side there.
It'll be quite tight with the red and the blue. I would say, John. That's my initial thought was the same. It probably doesn't change the shot very much in terms of you need to go for the blue anyway. I think they've played this very nicely. Yep, they have. They're line 3 now.
Really good shot, that.
No, I don't think there's any other option but draw the forfeit. I'm just looking at the scores down the right hand side, John. I think we're watching the wrong game here. We should be watching next door. 6-4 after 3 ends.
Alright, that's McCleary versus Duff.
I think to keep this game alive, this stone something has to land in the 8 foot.
I was just trying to look at the angles there to see how they could have brought the other 2 blues into play, but really there's no way that they could have done that.
Yeah, you'd have to push the red on the left on the top of the centre line over the top of the blue, which does give you an angle for it. It's the kind of shot you play if there's nothing else on. It does, but I think
unless
it's
going
enough.
To catch it.
Yeah, it's played it fine. So they got on the scoreboard.
Not only that, the head changes. So
it does.
Things change in the head. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not they can capitalise on this and come back against Noreen. So Latvia playing the blue stones and the Swedish team playing the red stones, and this time there's a change for the first time in the game. So it's noticeable that the person who played the stone is actually also doing the sweeping. I'm not sure if that was intentional, whether they were looking to tick it. I think that they were actually looking to draw to the forefoot. So the call this time is to draw behind that right hand guard. And this is one of the skills about mixed doubles, or the required skills, is that you need to be able to play a stone without having the skip's brush as an aiming point. So coming in just a wee bit hot here. Not really the best result, and certainly not what they were looking for. Allowing Latvia to just draw up to, or it'll be interesting to see whether they try to draw up to the red stones, or whether they look to be just in the front of the forefoot. And another one that's just coming in hot. So one or two errors creeping in on this end, with both teams not really just getting what they were indicating they were going to play for. So they're now in the position that they can take shots out. So Sweden appear to be looking to take this one out. They are 3 shots up. We're in the second half of the game. Again, not a good result for them.
We've got rid of the squeaky chair, John.
Alright, okay.
Keeps me happier anyway.
See, we never hear these comments when you're listening to the curling on Eurosport and that. We never get things like this, you know what I mean?
I've often heard Gary Neville on Super Sunday mention squeaky chairs. I bet he doesn't have to go and get his own coffee either.
Probably not allowed to have coffee.
No, probably not. There probably is something about liquid in electronics, isn't there?
That's right. It'll be interesting to get feedback from the teams on this game as to the ice. They seem to be making an awful lot of errors. Certainly not. They're not getting what they're indicating they want. So I find that very strange. However, if anybody can tell me what the play is here, because we had about 3 positions of the brush there.
I think this is one of these shots that you just can't go wrong with, isn't it?
So are they looking to move that red back onto the blue?
I would be looking to come into the forefoot. That's where I'd be looking to go, about there. You almost want to slightly overswing it, so if they go for a double, it's heading back to the blue. That's what I would be looking for anyway. They're 4-1 up, they've got hammer. Get the stones in, see if you can force a miss out of the opposition. It looks heavy though. Struggled with weight.
Looking to catch the outside of it and tap it back.
It's not bad, it just hasn't swung quite enough. Could have done with it swinging another. I think they can hit this and move both of them, because you'll get a little bit of sideways momentum to the right from the back red. Yeah, I think both reds go without leaving the blue going anywhere.
Just not sure what the left hand means, whether the wee twiddle means.
In terms of international translation, that is Latvian for car park wait.
Alright, okay. Still good to get past the guard.
It's pretty good. Yeah, well played. I'm not sure that red's actually done enough, has it?
I think the red could be lying second shot, is it?
I think so.
Sure.
I would favour the red as second.
I think you're right there.
I think as you tilt the camera up, it would.
I think you're
blue
right.
only goes back.
No, I think you're right. I was saying one of the problems or the difficulties you have with mixed doubles is that if your partner is going to come down to sweep, you then have to find a name point of your own. How do you play it, David? Do you?
We've been standing with a brush, to be honest.
I
can see why people don't. I think the other thing is, I don't know. I just find you get a better read of the ice, and you can see where people have actually played stones. And yeah, I think it's important to be stood behind the house when your opposition are playing. For a few reasons. I mean, the first of which, obviously, there's very limited chance to actually hit for the first few stones. So if you can get a stone further back by sweeping it, I think that's quite important. There's a few teams we've played over the year just haven't been keen to go and set up the far end. Shall we put it that way? And I think they do miss out that way. I think for a hit, I'd rather certainly have a brush. A draw, yeah, maybe not.
We were teaching some of the younger kids to play mixed doubles and that there, and when you actually start to teach them, there's some interesting points come up, because do they want a name point, do they not want a name point? For those that want a name point, you've got the player, they then come up and they're sweeping all the way up, having played the stone, but then really they're tired just at that moment in time when they're coming into the ring. So do they then swap around, especially with young kids and that, and it become quite thought-provoking as to what you did, do you actually, if they're say wanting to take a guard off, do they actually go down there, or do they stay at the back of the house, where you position your brush and that? And it was really quite interesting. And
I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of the thrower doing the sweeping, but I think that's probably personal preference. I'd rather concentrate on the stone, the line. I know how I've thrown it. Have I thrown it in? Have I thrown it out? And I think if you're getting up to sweep, the person holding the brush doesn't necessarily know what you've done with that stone.
No, I follow you there. I also think that sometimes if you're doing that, you're more interested in trying to get yourself up to follow the stone, rather than making sure that you play the stone well. So.
I was just beginning to wonder if I was just being lazy about it, or
no.
But I think we've gone most of the season with the thrower, doing the sweeping as well, and I think that's something I'd look to switch around maybe.
So here's Sweden coming in.
That's good. I think that's a 2.
So
this game just starting to get away from the Latvians, I would say, but it's never over in mixed doubles, though, is it? It's never over.
It'd be nice to see them come back and get a 3 or a 4 this time, and then make it a game.
Well, that's it. You spring a 3 out, and then all of a sudden you get that first one nailed exactly where you want it, and you're in control of it after that. So the Swedes, though, still do have a power play to throw if they need it. I think we've just had one power play, haven't we?
We have, aye.
There's a system on the scoreboard, actually, John.
Yes, I heard that, what they're going to do, and I don't know whether it's just, I don't know where the rules or where it's came from, but if you do a power play, you've got a yellow disc, and if you win the power play, you have the yellow disc facing with showing all yellow, and if you lose or have won someone else's power play, you show the yellow disc, but there's a different colour on the other side of it. So
it's a green
spot or something.
Green or
can you any idea where this came from? It was mentioned that it was to help
from one of the umpires, I believe.
It was to help with scoring, so that.
So you see it there, fourth end. We got a power play, and I believe that orange. It looks orange from here.
No, it's
trying to be corrected. I believe it has a green dot on the other side of it.
If you lose it,
not sure how much we're going to see of it, but it's probably. At least it shows us they've played the power play, I would say.
Right,
that's probably the main thing.
Probably for umpires it's quite good, because then they know exactly what has happened and that.
Yeah, and it's one of the interesting things, if a team sets up wrongly and then starts the end, I believe once you've thrown the first stone, that's it, if you don't notice the error.
Alright, okay.
So if you're being sly, you could try and throw 2 power plays in a game and hope you got away with it, but
curlers would never ever do something like that.
Just to test the umpires, maybe?
No. Can I say to David, that's a terrible accusation to make. Any curler. So I suggest if anybody's playing against David Owen in the mixed doubles, that they make sure that he doesn't throw in an extra power play.
Our success rate on power plays would suggest that we're not going to do that very often. It's an interesting setup here. Tried to tick on the guard, which has rolled into the rings, but it has left a double on there.
It's about the first time that we've seen where they've actually probably put the stone in what is seen as being the best position, just to the front of the button there.
Yeah, it's a nice stone in there, and it's taken the double off a little bit, but it's still, the double's still there, to be fair.
So I think the call here from Latvia is just to push that red just to the back of the 4 foot on the left hand side. Not given that much ice. Looks to be drawn too much.
It does
or
really,
too light.
Really
too
need
light
to get a wee piece of this red. Well, they got a little piece. I suspect if they can see that, they'll play it, but I don't think they can see the outside blue. They might be tempted to raise the red here. I think that's what they're looking at now. Here we go. Maybe a bit thin, does the job. Sends one blue flying, nudges the other one back. Reds lie 2. We shrug of the shoulders. So not overly impressed by that, I don't think. I think at this point the Blues, they just have to keep firing the stones in and hope something starts to build for them. And that's a pretty good effort. That's not going anywhere.
No, that's locked in there. Maybe still some stones to come. Hopefully Latvia can come back and at least get a 2 here.
I think there must be 4 stones to come in the end, I think, John. 2 each. Opportunity now. Doubles there. I don't think they can save the back blue with it, but they can move the reds and roll, possibly roll to the right and lie on the third red, which would be quite a nice result.
We're just trying to look and see the Latvian team. I take it it's husband and wife combination, is it, David, or do you know?
That's a dangerous assumption to make, isn't it?
My apologies if I'm wrong.
I believe you're right, but yeah, we will find out. We'll get one of the competition organisers to confirm that for us. It's a good effort and quite unlucky with the result there. The Swedish Rangers going to have to be a wee bit careful here. Both them reds do go, so they'll be keen to get another one in the forefoot just to put the pressure on and to make sure it's nothing more than a 2. Speaking about competition organisers, John, have you seen the technological advances one of our Facebook users has done this morning?
No.
Created a wee video coming in through the door and looks very good. Nice sunny morning.
All right.
The boy's done well.
Well done. Who did that?
Mr. Sloan.
Must have had time in his hands.
I still think he's camera. He didn't know the camera was running on the phone, to be perfectly
Right,
honest.
okay, then that's more like it.
He even suggested we could do new titles with it.
Right.
I didn't have the heart to ask him what was wrong with the old ones, but
If there's anybody out there that wants to come to Dumfries and they've got time in their hands to help us with some technical things, please do so.
starting to get paranoid now. What's wrong with the existing technical bits? Our little cupboard's quite homely.
We've got about 15 screens in front of us, I think, with all different things on it.
We might attempt to show people that at the end of this end, John. We might.
What's that? Oh,
we can show off our cupboard now.
Oh, we could do, aye. I'm just looking up the Latvian teams, and I see we've got two lady. How do you spell that anyway? Regza.
I think it's Riza.
Riza. And a Vita Riza and a Dace Riza.
It's the latter, I believe, John.
So
it's the latter.
So that's Dace. Well, she was shown here as playing third with Team Riza, playing out of on the World's Curling Tour.
So there's a draw for a 2 here, I think. Don't think there's anything else on.
Do you think that if the score stays the same difference than that there'll be a shake of the hands at the end of the seventh end? Or?
Yeah, I think it's heading that way. I mean, if they get a 2 here, which it's looking okay for a 2, yep, he's got his 2 here. So 6-3, assuming the Swedes score. I would expect the Swedes to take the power play now.
So anybody wanting to put a bet on this? I've got about a few seconds to put a bet on this.
Money staked is entirely at your own risk, and we'll keep it regardless of the outcome. Yep.
So we're not giving odds on your...
So you're going to take the bet?
No.
No.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah, we'll find out in a few seconds. I would if I was there.
Alright, okay. Anyway, it's pleasing to see that Team Latvia has came back into the game. Only 3 in it. Sorry.
Let's go to the side. Yeah, the only way you can lose this game is being involved with a guddle down the middle.
Right, okay.
So even if they use the power play just to take a 1 here, they're 4 up going down the last. So take a 2, they'll probably get the handshakes.
For those of you who are not local, guddle means mix. Okay. Guddle.
Guddle and curling means guddle, surely.
Okay.
Yeah, fair point. Shall we see if the other scores have been updated?
I bet you didn't get guddle in Sky Sports, like.
You get a few other things right enough, but yeah, I think we have some updates.
Have we?
We have some updates. Yeah, we have picked the wrong game. 7-6 in that game on sheet C now. Still after 4 ends. I suspect we're a few ends behind, but it has been updated since we last flashed them up.
Right.
There is somebody sitting on the computer, so.
But for those that's in Latvia and in Sweden that are watching this game, this is the game that we're staying with, okay? So don't worry about it.
Oh, we're not going to move. We're not going to move.
So, Latvia counters with putting 1 at the front there.
Yeah, I suspect they were going for a centre guard there, John.
Right.
Which is
just
the other
a wee
way.
bit too far.
playing against Claire Hamilton the other night. That's what she chose to do when we threw a power play. They put a centre guard up. She had us scratching our heads. We didn't expect that. Not a bad way to play it, to be fair. As a container, where the game was Peels at the time, so it was either Peels or we were one down, one of the two anyway. So it's quite a tight game.
So Sweden looking to come onto their own, it would appear.
Yeah, I would have preferred that either to curl and sit on the face or go behind it, one of the two. Leaves quite a nest to come into now, but they're just going for the centre guard again. Which again, they're 3 down, they're looking for a steal. What would you do in a normal game of curling? You'd go down the middle. And this is as normal game of curling as this game gets with the power play, I suppose. So.
Right, okay. Given quite a bit ice there. That's really what he asked for, so well done.
Yeah, maybe overswung a wee touch, but actually quite like it there. I think that gives a few options. It gives an option of, if they're trying to remove it, there's a chance of spinning it into the reds as well, which they're going to be slightly cautious of. I think you do have to remove it though, or you move the one in the house.
So as David mentioned there, really what the Latvian team with the blue stones are looking to do is they're trying to manipulate this game so that they can actually take stones so that they can win the end. And remember, the first 3 stones, nobody can remove any stones from play, so it just makes your tactics just totally different.
Keeps everybody on their toes, doesn't it? That's the nice thing.
So we've had the 3 stones played. So this one can remove. Whether they're looking for a double in the front? No.
I think that's fine. I quite like that. I think there was a fair bit of risk involved in moving that front. You're 3 up. You've got last stone. The whole of the left side of the sheet's open. I think either went for the single peel on the guard or the single peel on the one in the house, and going for the one in the house means you lie the shooter, and all of a sudden the Latvians are now trying to draw through a port, and if they don't get one, absolutely. Bear in mind they've only got 3 stones left in this end now, and they're lying 3 against. They're going to need a good one in there.
The other thing as well is that if it is partially shown for a hit, the Swedish are going to be hitting that stone into their own ones. So it looks as if it's going to catch on there, but it might just kick over.
I'd have liked it gone a little bit further, ideally. If they'd have been able to get to about there somewhere, it would have been a lot nicer, because the angles would have been that little bit better.
So Sweden going to just take this one.
The nose hit here is pretty nice. Limits the opportunity for the draw round as well. I think if they go a nose hit here, we'll see a hit and roll on the other red.
Sweden.
It's over swinging, John. Yeah, it's fine. That's almost better actually. But it does expose them to that hit and roll now, because there's no easy tap up.
No. But again, it's to be got. Some precision curling here.
I did played against this Swedish rink last year, and if I remember rightly, once they get up, their hitting was pretty fearsome. So.
Right, okay.
this one needs to come off. And
it looks as if it's going to stay. That's not very good.
No, it's not, and it's now give the Swedish rink a chance to draw right in there as well. Just to the 8 foot, just exactly where they've got their brush. Not really any need to go any further than that. Even top 12's pretty good. And all of a sudden I think we're looking at a 3 or a 4 here, John.
Sweden look as if they'll be lying 3 at the moment, I think.
Yes, I would. Yeah, maybe tight for the third shot, but that blue looks pretty lonely out of there.
Does I? Some other scores for you. Garcia versus Mulder. It's 6-5 for Garcia. Wang versus Perret. It's 5-4 for Perret. McCleary versus Duff. It's 8-6 for McCleary. Our young Dumfries team who are standing in, they are losing 8-3 against foreign teams, and 5 versus, I take it, the China team, no, the Chinese teams. It's 4-2 for the Chinese team, and that Shi Henderson is Bryzgalove. And how are you going to pronounce that, David?
Bryzgalova.
Right, okay.
Just say it confidently.
Okay. Right, yeah.
Nobody argues.
Right.
We'll get the pronunciations sorted by, I would guess dinner time Sunday, yeah.
So, Sweden line 4. How do you take those 4 shots? Or how you...
There might be a hit and roll.
Is this the last shot to be played of the game? Is it?
This is the last blue shot, I think, John. It's blue shot. They must not be able to see an inside edge of the red, because I was wondering if they could hit the red about there and try and get some movement in about here somewhere.
Well, that is straight hit into, if you can get the right angle and become shot.
I think he's looking to do that, isn't he? And then just roll in from there.
If he can get there, he'll be.
If he can't, he's losing a 5 though.
I suppose he's got to gamble.
It's absolutely.
He's got to gamble. Because the other one is that he could hit that centre one and trying to take the whole 3, but you're then just going to draw, and you'll be going out on the left hand side.
You're losing a 2 and you're 5, but you're 5 down anyway to win down the last.
So I think he's got to gamble.
Oh, they're sweeping it. Oh dear.
No, just caught the inside of it.
I don't think we'll see the hit. I don't think it matters if that top one's. There we go. Handshake straight away.
Okay. So that's our first win. So that's Sweden won that game.
So final score 6-3. All the other scores you'll be able to keep up to date with on the website. I'm afraid at this early stage we're going to pace ourselves, so we're not going to switch games. We do that from quarterfinals onwards. But as I say, you'll see the scores on the DIBCA website or on the Facebook pages. Thank you very much, John, for this morning's game.
It was okay. It was good. Nice to get back into it again, and we'll try and get some feedback on what the ice conditions were to see whether or not the players were just unsettled, or whether in actual fact that perhaps they were unhappy with the way the ice was. They've actually worked hard on the ice here, got new equipment in, been working on it all week and that, lots of different things done, and feedback yesterday was it was really keen with good draws. So anyway, thanks very much, David, and we'll be back later on.
11:30, and hopefully you can join us then.